Welcome to Lingua Latina Tutorials with Mr. K, Pensvm D. In this video, I'll explain the grammar and syntax of Chapter 49 of Hans Orberg's Lingua Latina per se illustrata series. This video is meant to accompany the Latine Disco text, or the college companion text for the Lingua Latina series. This is a summary of the information contained in that text. So let's get started. Here we are in chapter 49, and the very first feature that we're going to look at is in line 112. Scroll ahead. So we've got, here we are. So we're going to start translating here with cum hoc, cum hoc. And this is after Scipio has gone to Carthage, or gone to North Africa, and Hannibal has been forced to follow him, had to leave Italy to go defend his homeland. So starting with cum hoc, we have with this man, namely Scipio, referring back to Scipio. So with this man, since his resources were now exhausted, exhaustis, and this is referring to Hannibal, since now his resources had been exhausted, he desired to settle the present war so that stronger he could meet with Scipio later. So the new feature here, the feature I wanted to point out, is this verb congrederetur. And so what are the person, number, tense, voice, and mood of congrederetur? Well, congrederetur is third person singular. It's imperfect passive subjunctive. So we have the infinitive with the passive ending. It's subjunctive. Why? Well, in this case, it was Hannibal who wanted to settle the present war, quo, so that. Quo here is acting like ut. This is a purpose clause called a relative purpose clause. It's called a relative purpose clause because it's introduced by a relative pronoun rather than ut. And so literally, by which stronger he could meet him later, but here we're translating it so that stronger he could meet him later. Okay, let's look at our next feature, which is in line 129. Okay, so we're going to start this all the way back up here with his enem magistratibus. So what that says is for with these men as magistrates, referring back to Publius Sulpicius and Gaius Aurelius. So with these guys, we have an ablative absolute starting it. With these guys as magistrates, with these guys as magistrates, the Carthaginian ambassadors came to Rome in order to give thanks to the Senate and the Roman people because they had made peace with them, on account of which they were presenting them with a golden crown, and at the same time they were seeking that their hostages, their opsides, be kept at Fregellae, or Fregellae, and this is a city in Latium where they wanted so this is locative, so where they wanted their hostages to be held, and that their captives be returned to them. So the feature that I want to look at in this sentence is donarent. So what are the person, number, tense, voice, and mood of donarent? Well, donarent is third person plural, imperfect active subjunctive. So again, we have the infinitive form donare with the personal ending nt, and that gives us our imperfect subjunctive form. But why? Why is it imperfect subjunctive? In this case, it's in a relative clause of purpose. In other words, so that it's the same form we had before, so that on account of that thing, so that they could, because they had made peace with them, kind of which thing they were presenting them with the golden crown. We have so that they could present them with a golden crown, and at the same time seek that their hostages be placed at Fregellae. So using the verb donare, how would you say to present someone, donare, to present someone with a thing as opposed to present a thing to someone? Well, to say to present someone with a thing, you would have aliquem re donare. So donare, you donare the accusative with the ablative. Donare the accusative with the ablative, like you have here. They gave them or presented them with a golden crown. You could also say this with the dative of the person getting the object. So you could say they gave to give donare aliqui, to give to someone a rem. So you can give the accusative to someone. In this case, you'd have donare coronem auream iis, to them. Okay, the next new feature is in line 148. Here we are, line 148. We will start with hos Hannibal. Hos Hannibal. So we got Hannibal having thought, ratus, Hannibal having thought that these ambassadors, the host refers to the ambassadors, that these ambassadors were sent for the purpose of demanding himself before the Senate could be handed over, could be given to them so that they could speak. He boarded a ship secretly, and he fled into Syria to Antioch. So here, the question is, what is the case? What case is the phrase sui exposcendi? Sui, back here, sui exposcendi. And what we have here is a genitive case with gratia. It's objective genitive. So for the sake of, or for the purpose of, himself being demanded. For the sake of demanding him, we're trying to say it actively, but really what we have here is Hannibal having thought that these guys were sent for the purpose of himself being demanded. So we have a passive, we have a gerundive. Okay, let's look at line 164. Went too far. Down here at the bottom or in the middle of the page. Okay, so we have the new feature that we're going to look at is sui here, but we'll start with Antioco. So starting with Antioco fugato, we'll translate this. So after, with Antioch having been fled, or so we have our ablative absolute, after he fled Antioch, fearing lest he be handed over, because without a doubt that it would have happened if he had made it so that they had power over himself. So after this had happened, after he'd fled Crete, he came to Crete, to the Gortinii, so that he could regroup himself there where he had stopped. So here we have Sui, because without a doubt it would have happened if he had made it so that they had the power over himself, or so that if he had given them power over himself. So here, what form do we have here with Sui? What is the case? Well, Sui is the genitive. It's the genitive of the reflexive pronoun say. And here it's an objective genitive, giving them power to have the power over him, the power of him. So since potestatem have the power of the person, can take an objective genitive. That's what we have here. The next new feature we have is in line 226. So here we are. Let's see. We are going to start with his Prusias. His Prusias. So with his Prusias, we have Prusias is the king of Bithynia. So Prusias didn't dare to deny these guys. And again, this is the ambassadors from Rome. He didn't dare to deny these guys. He objected that they not demand that something be done by himself, which was against the law or rule of hospitality, or of being a host. And then this is a mixed up direct quotation. So the first part is, we're assuming this is what he said. He said that they themselves, if they were able, could capture him, comprehenderent. Then we have indirect speech, that they would easily find the place where he was. So with comprehenderent, what are the person, number, tense, voice, and mood of that verb? Well, what we have is a third person plural, imperfect, active, subjunctive. Again, the infinitive form, comprehendere, with the personal endings. Why do we have this mood? Excuse me. We have this mood because we have an indirect command. He was commanding them to seize. He said, you could seize him. And if you're able, seize him. So as an indirect command, we have our subjunctive form. The next new feature we have is in line 228. Okay, and here we have, we'll start with Hannibal here. Hannibal enim uno loco se tenebat. For Hannibal kept himself in one place, in a castle that had been given to him, by the king for a gift, or as a gift. And he had built it in such a way, that in every place it had exits in every part of the building. Excuse me. Of course, Hannibal, fearing lest in reality or by use it turn out what actually happened, quod occidit. So he was afraid that he was going to get captured. People were going to come to capture him, which is exactly what happened. So let's look at the new feature here, which is just moonery dare. So to give someone something moonery, we have what case? Dative case. from munus. We have dative here. Why do we have dative? Well, it's called a dative of purpose. It was given, or it had been given to him for a gift, for the purpose of a gift. So dono or donare plus the dative of purpose. The last new feature is on line 241. I went too far. And so in line 241 we have consuerat, and we are going to start this sentence with quam ne alieno. Quam ne alieno. So what we have here is lest he hand over, and quam is referring back here to vitam, his life. So lest he hand over his life, his vitam, to another's will, alieno arbitrio, to another's authority. Mindful of his old courage, he took the poison, which he was always accustomed to have with himself. So here, the feature that I want to point out is the form here, consuerat, and you can see in the margin notes that this comes from consuescere, to be accustomed, consuescere. And the question is, what are the person, number, tense, voice, and mood of consuerat? And in this case, we have a third person singular, pluperfect, active, indicative. It would be, if we had an uncontracted form, we would have the form consuerat, but the e, the e have been contracted into a long e. So instead of consuerat, we end up with consuerat. So what's unusual about the meaning here? When I translated this, I said he took poison which he was always accustomed to have with him. Well, with a pluperfect, you'd expect me to say had. He took a poison which he had been accustomed always to have with him. But with the verb consuescere, we have a perfect form that is equal to the present tense. Kind of like with the verb for hate, odisse, to hate. So here the perfect consuevit, he has been accustomed, is just translated as he is accustomed. We translate it as the present. Consuevit is just like solet. The pluperfect here is the equivalent of the imperfect. So he was accustomed. Consuerat is equivalent to solebat. He was accustomed. And so that is all we have for new grammar and syntax in chapter 49. You're now ready to go take your chapter test after you've studied your vocabulary, margin notes, Pensvm D, Latine Disco, reread through the chapter. So good luck to you, and I'll see you in chapter 50.